playing a card game.
Leslie says, "What's the game and buy-in?"
The two look at you as the sound of the bard is actually kind of echoing really loudly in this part, and they say, "Why, it's 3 Dragonante."
Do I know this game?
It's pretty common. It is a game using non-traditional playing cards where the people try and create a flight in order to win money.
All right, well...
Yeah, Beard actually owns it. It's kind of a cool game.
I was wondering how the hell you were coming up with something off the top of your head like that. I'm like, he prepared a card game?
No, I didn't prepare one. Or we could play a quick round of Zuno.
The quicker the better. He sits down.
He says, Zuno's pretty straightforward. There's different points you can get for getting pairs. So you roll 2 dice, and then you roll a third dice. It's played with d6s.
All right, then. So roll 2d6.
Yep.
Drew, if you want to go to the other guys, I don't remember how to play Zuno, but why don't we pretend to be NPCs and we can play with Carl if you want.
Yeah, we can just type.
Okay.
I'm looking to win.
So
how does Zuno work again?
So Zuno works in what you do is you place a bet, and everyone on the table places a bet, and then you have 3 chances to roll something decent. So if you roll triple ones, you automatically lose. So the point is, actually, I think you can play it with 3d6s. So what you're trying to do is roll 2d6, or 2 of your d6s need to be the same number, or you can have a run, which is like 1, 2, 3. So if 2 of your numbers is, so what is it? Triple ones automatically lose. 6, 6, 6 automatically wins.
Yeah.
So triples beat anything else that's lower than it. Runs. Then it's followed by runs, which is like if you roll like a 1, 2, 3.
What about a 2, 4, 6?
That does not count.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And I think there's one. Isn't 1, 2, 3 like the worst? Maybe. It's
not in this version of it.
One immediately loses.
Okay.
So is this it? And those are the rules? Okay.
Other than that, if he rolls 2 6s and a 3, it's worth 3.
Yeah, it's worth 3.
So like if 2 dice match, it's the number's the off number.
And I think you have 7 tries to try to get something or something.
It's 3 tries.
3? Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah,
So
Zuno's a goblin game.
So I just have to roll 3d6 each time?
Yep.
They got inspired by CeeLo, which is a real game.
Yeah. I like CeeLo.
All right. Sveltna. Luke, you're on mute.
Sorry. I'm going to look at Thryndall and ask him if he wants company while he goes back to sell the muskets.
Benzel?
Who apparently is not there.
Oh, he might have said BRB earlier.
And Yang, so I think I'll just put you 3 all together and move you 3 as a unit. Yang. And we're going to move back to Sir Gamry in a second. Before he does, Anna, the bartender, offers you a drink.
Anna will take it. She says, it's my first time at Nancy's. What's the usual?
She says, like most things in Nancy's, the beer here is dirty and cheap.
Anna says, you know what, I'm going to try to interact with this girl a little bit. So Anna says, how long have you been working here?
She smiles and she says, you're a social one, ain't ya? My name is Lauren.
Anna. And she'll reach across the table and shake her hand.
She smiles and says, you're a wee bit young to be in these parts. You know Nancy only takes in the hard-done folk, and You seem like you've got your head on straight.
I'm not quite looking for work, but as far as clientele is concerned, I think you've got younger. And Anna sort of like looks over to the smoking kid.
Oh, she says, "Oh, I didn't mean for that. A lot of the girls who work here also work as comfort ladies. Nancy's got a talent for picking them up from the street, making the best out of a bad situation. Let's put it that way. Hell, before she found me about I'd say 15 years ago, I was just another shiver addict wasting away on the side of the road."
So you trust Nancy?
Oh, wholeheartedly. No one does anything for the eastern side of the city except Nancy.
I see. And what about some of the other workers here? So should I do a bluff or diplomacy check? I'm basically going to try to lead the conversation to Hob without blatantly being like, what about Hob?
Do a bluff, because you're kind of doing a misdirect.
The same, so 20, not natural.
She says, "Most people in here are the hard to done by." She says, "You two seem to have your head screwed on straight," pointing at Gorgon as well, who is smoking from his pipe, and he's already ordered himself a tankard of ale. And he says, "The ale's not bad. It's a little bit cold for my taste, but would you like one?"
Sure. So
Gorgon buys you an ale.
Nancy doesn't hire anyone of ill repute.
She says, "Darling, down here in the slums, everyone's a bit of an ill repute. This is where the people wind up who, this is where most people in the city wind up. It's the biggest district. Is this your first time to the slums?"
It's my first time in Abbotsford, actually.
"Oh, my. Well, you see, the problem is everything takes an awful price. She points over to these three over here. She's like, take those three, for example. All three of them are war vets who fought in the Tor Cloverin War. I guess whose pension was never delivered on time. Now they do odd jobs here and there, trying to keep themselves afloat. But they served their empire, did their time." She points to... Mm-hmm.
We aren't strangers to justice not being served. When
says,
I mentioned individuals of ill repute, I suppose I meant more of morality rather than their sense of honor, particularly to the authorities in places such as this.
She says, "My God, you're a curious little one, but yes, darling, a lot of people here have to do what they have to do to survive. Yes, there a lot of people in this bar probably have records, but that's who they are. Take, for example, Hobbs there has been interrogated by the authorities numerous times, and they've never had anything to hold him down on. Our bard, the bard in the corner there, she just got brought in for playing an instrument of all things."
Jesus.
Hob was that character who just went to the back, correct? What's his story?
She says, "Tribal hobgoblin like any others. They grow up in the wild. Eventually, when we start pushing in, the Empire, as humanity and civilization expands, well, they need to go somewhere and do something else. So they enter the city. Most of them find simple work, merc work, or they make do for themselves. Half-orcs and hobgoblins aren't generally trusted, but most people find they make capable laborers."
I see. And what about Nancy? How did she come into ownership of this place?
"Ooh," she says, "I'd best let you ask Nancy that herself. She's a wildly one. She's getting old, but her beauty ain't fading."
Perhaps Nancy would fancy a drink on a day like this.
Nancy gave that up a long time ago, my friend. The doctor said she had to. Liver was bothering her.
Perhaps a tea then?
She does enjoy a good cup of tea. I'll see what I can do. So I'm just going to move on to Sir Gamry. Sir Gamry, you're
Yeah.
sitting at the bar.
Sir Gamry's become.
I'll come back to you home.
No, that's good.
He's
Sir Gamry's become fascinated with the bard, and he's listening to the lyrics of whatever song she's got going.
All right. So let me see. Did I put the bard up on my handouts? No, I didn't, but I will show you a photo. Just give me 1 second, Russell. Na 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 do do. Bard.
Just kidding.
All right. She is singing in Elven.
Oh, so I don't understand it.
I
Nope.
do.
Oh.
I have that picture.
Congratulations.
Thank
Holy
you.
snapping.
Sir Gamry starts to wander around the bar, easing up a little bit. He just kind of like wades towards the stage and keeps an eye out for anything of interest.
As you walk by, you can hear three men who are obviously fishermen of some sorts talking. The orc says, "I swear I hit it with the harpoon. It must have dove in and taken the whole beast with it." And this guy over here says, "Well, that's probably because you can't tie a decent fisherman's knot, Car." And he says, "I sure can. I tied the thing as tight as she needed to be." "If you tied it as tight as we need to be," says the third man, "we would still have a harpoon." And the orc gets looks really mad. He's like, "I swear I tied it tight enough." Says, "Well, that's why you're not getting paid for the job." "It's all right. I'll pick up your tab."
Yeah. Gamry's interested, but not sure how to interject into the conversation. Still uneasy. What can I make roughly a double move towards the bar?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, that's good.
Or, sorry, toward the stage, you mean?
Sorry, yeah, stage. Anything going on at this lower table?
At this lower table, these two, as he approached, they were kind of talking in whispered tones. They look up at you.
Excuse me. Gamry wants to see if he can get the attention of the bard if she notices that he's approaching.
She continues her song, and pretty soon she stops playing. She stops and has a glass of water.
All right. Does she have like a guitar case or an instrument case? I could throw a few coins.
A loot case.
She does have a. She has a hat out in front.
All right. Gamry throws a bunch of silver in. Say
Oh, yeah,
50,
you're
10 silver.
Right?
She says, "Thank you kindly, sir. I appreciate your patronage."
Gamry nods and just stands there watching her, but takes a step back to not be too intense.
Perfect.
That's it. He's just exploring. He doesn't have an agenda.
All right. I'm going to move to Thorindel then. Pretty soon you hear a really high-pitched whistle. Yang, you also hear this, but no one else.
Whoa.
Thorindel looks to Yang and says, "Be cautious."
Of course.
And then I'll head back. There.
Aren't you coming with, or?
Yeah, I just needed control. I was
Oh, okay.
on my laptop, so moving the map around is a little painful.
Oh, you can use the arrow.
So a dwarven cook yells out from the kitchen. He says, "Just don't touch my things." As he can go back, and he's clearly cutting some meat.
No worries.
I look around the room and then see the hobgoblin and walk towards him.
He says, "All right, gentleman and lady, what do you got for me?"
We don't actually have one of them with us, do we? I mean, we didn't
I'm
roll up.
going to say you have them all in maybe a duffel bag.
Really? Like, because I thought that they checked weapons at the door.
Yeah, they checked weapons at the doors. So.
Oh, yeah. He makes arrangements. One of the barmaids comes in with the bag full of muskets. Let's move the plot along.
Good call.
Right here, Thrindahl says as he opens